On this episode of Delivering Marketing Joy, we talk with Roger Burnett about why he's back and better than ever. And hey there, and welcome to another edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hasseman, and I'm really excited to have a repeat guest, my good buddy, Roger Burnett. Now, Roger's got a new title, and I am excited to sort of discuss that with him. His title is Inspiration Department from Branded Logistics. So, Roger, thank you so much for joining me, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me, Kirby. I think this is fine.
Yeah, sure, whatever you say. You're the guest.
We're going to be able to put together a best of record.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're like the host of SNL that keeps coming back, right?
I can only hope to keep getting the invitation, so thank you, sir.
You bet. So, look, man, we kind of mentioned it in the title. You're in a new role. You're back in the promo industry. So, first of all, congratulations.
Thank
But
you.
let me be the person to ask, right? Like, tell us what you're doing and why are you back?
Okay, well, that required a little bit of soul searching, so I suppose it's a worthy discussion.
Yeah.
So Branded Logistics is a supplier in the industry. Our ASI paperwork and PPAI paperwork are in the process of being finalized, so you'll be able to find us in all of the search engines, including Distributor Central and some of the other free ones here relatively soon, so keep an eye out for that. Our product line in the industry is really built around a couple premises. So originally Branded Logistics was built around protective cases for your electronics. Mm-hmm. So things like your iPhone or your Android phone, any of your laptops, any of your other mobile computing devices. We got our start providing logoed inventory of the OtterBox line into the industry and have since evolved that product set into other manufacturers still in the protective case division, Spec, LifeProof, Mophie, Trident. So if you have clients out there who are interested in having branded phone cases that are actually brand name, you can come to us through the industry and be able to get those at wholesale and be able to provide them to your customers in much the same way as you would do any other promotional product. Mm-hmm. Interestingly enough, though, by virtue of our master distributor arrangement with OtterBox, I don't know if you've noticed this, but OtterBox has now moved into, or actually returned to, the outdoor products that made them originally famous. So the Dry Box is the original product that OtterBox had produced, which was literally a dry case that you could float in a river while you were kayaking. It was meant to hold all of your goods, and hence that moved you over into protective once they realized that, phones most typically go into those cases. So they've now reintroduced the Dry Box. There's a cooler, and there's also an entire line of drinkware. So if you think about outdoor product inspired by the outside, looks very retail, maybe I'm drawing a line of breadcrumbs back to potential people who are interested in that kind of product and what other people are asking for. We would tell you that OtterBox would be a great choice for members of the industry looking to sell that kind of product out to their customers.
Sure.
So why? Why did I do it? I guess, Kirby, when you think about it, I mean, to your point, to my point, we've had 5 of these. The promotional products industry is home to me. It's where the majority of my relationships have been built over the course of the last 10 years. Right. And I left more out of what I perceive to be my own personal need to grow my own skill set than necessarily being upset with the industry for any particular reason. So I believe that sort of my return was inevitable in some ways. It was just a matter of when was it going to happen and in what role. I'm obviously excited to return to working with Jonathan, who's been a long-time collaborator with me on a number of different ways, both personal and professionally. So it's exciting to me to be able to come back to a place where my talent is expected and my performance is appreciated. So we'll see what happens.
No, that's awesome. Congratulations, man. And so it leads nicely into my next question, because you did leave the industry, you went into a new role, and you and I talked actually during that process too. But so what are some of the lessons that you learned in those recent roles that might help you?
Well, certainly there's a number of just basic tangible running a business, tactical kind of education that you really can't get unless you've had the opportunity to be at the controls of a business of any size.
Right.
So in a lot of ways, this time was in some ways like an executive MBA for me. But setting that piece of it aside, I guess the real art of it was having an opportunity to develop my own set of beliefs with respect to how you treat employees and the way that you build a culture within an organization. I'd not had the chance to do that before. And it was part of what I felt like was missing in my skill set in order to be able to come back to the industry where I already have relationships built, but perhaps people in the industry don't see me in that light. But now, armed with the time that I've spent away, I'm hoping that perhaps I sound a little bit more prepared for the kinds of roles that what I'm trying to accomplish within the industry now at Branded Logistics present me.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think there is a difference between helping someone else, being a part of a team and helping someone else build their brand, and being the person captaining the brand.
Sure.
Nothing wrong with either role, but it is a different role. So your point is well taken. So in the new role, obviously there's opportunities. What do you see as your biggest challenge?
There's a couple things. We're still what any member of the industry would consider at that threshold point of, are we still a small business that comprises the majority of the industry, or are we graduating to be something beyond that in the multi-million-dollar category where it requires a slightly different skill set in order to manage a business of that size than it does necessarily to manage what we know to be the traditional business within our marketplace, which is that $1 million or less business. So we're already at the $1 million category. We're looking to grow to $3 million. So my responsibility is to understand the challenges inherent in that part of a company's growth and know how to be a marshal and a steward of resources, both of our own as well as perhaps of what customers like yourself might ask of us, so that I know how to be selective in choosing the customers that I know that I can best support. Because, in growth, what I've seen in this stage of growth from, now we're past that, what we call liftoff stage, and we're in that, next phase of growth, you can overpromise, and you can not scale appropriately based on what you're able to go and sell in the marketplace. And, Kirby, I've been around a long time. I think I know what you would like me to tell you.
Yes.
As far as what you would like from me, and I better be able to back that up if I'm going to make that commitment to you. So we have to be very careful with who we target as our customers at this stage of our growth to make sure that we can support you in a way that you would be able to recommend us to anybody else out there in the marketplace. So, we have to balance our marketing, we have to balance our infrastructure, we have to make sure that we're investing both in making sure that we can sell what we're selling today, but also be able to sell bigger accounts and more business as we're able to get it.
That's awesome.
And I think having two former distributors that, at one stage of our careers ran $50 million worth of promotional products business, we kind of understand some of what you should and mostly what you shouldn't do in trying to build that, as you're making that scale.
No, it's cool. So tell me this, and maybe this is only for you and me, but you had told me that I should read the book Predictable Success. And so what stage are you guys in? Are you in the early? Are you in fun? Are you in whitewater? Where are you at?
So, as is the case, there are a number of different vertical markets in our business that we're selling product through. So, in the wholesale space, we're very much in liftoff, right? Very, very much in liftoff. So we're still putting the systems in place to make sure that when I come to you and make a sales call on Hasseman marketing, that we can do exactly what we promise you. And that's why we waited until ASA Chicago to announce ourselves to the industry, because we've done enough business in this space that we feel confident in promoting ourselves beyond what we would call beta, right? So we're moving into official liftoff stage, but there's all kinds of markets that we haven't even dented. We haven't even begun to write a sales plan for. So in a lot of ways, I'd say we were in varying stages, but I would say the business has the good fortune to say, in their minds, we're in fun because we have enough money to bring me and an account manager we've come on together at once. And that's somewhat of an accomplishment within the business to be able to afford to bring 2 new people into the organization. So not only is predictable success a great blueprint for anyone that is faced with the challenges that I'm faced with, and Kirby, I saw your reaction about how you felt about the book, but I want to just sort of put a little pitch in there to say, if you've read it and finished it, his next book, Les McCallum's next book, is called The Synergist.
Okay.
And that book is as dog-eared as Success was, or maybe even more. The 5th chapter of that book, I just dog-eared the entire chapter.
All right, The Synergist, you said.
Yes, The Synergist, also by Les McCallum, same author of Predictable Success.
Cool, I will check that out. Well, hey, you've answered my 3 questions. I actually threw a 4th at you there, sorry. But everybody gets a chance to ask me one. Do you have one for me?
Oh, I do. So, Kirby, here I am introducing myself back to the industry. Hello, industry, but you also, as a potential client of mine, I'm whether or not you're coming to the ASI Chicago show or not, I'm in the 100 row, and only a fraction of the industry knows who I am. So even if I were to broadcast to the entire industry, hey, Roger Burnett is in booth 103 at the ASI Chicago show, what could I potentially do as you were coming through that aisle that might get you to stop?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. So, and we're talking outside of like pre-marketing. You're talking about I'm walking down the aisle and I'm just looking. Yep. Okay. So, it's so funny. I think that that's part of the business that hasn't really changed that much from my perspective. So I think that a lot of suppliers don't utilize promotional products that well within their own space, which blows me away. B, I would say don't sit on your phone and stare at that as opposed to the people walking by. Don't be afraid to actually reach out and not physically, but just engage with the people walking by, say hello to them. We all know that in every trade show there are people who are looking down at their feet because they're trying not to make eye contact. Make them make eye contact, right? And so I think that those strategies are the simplest, especially for a new startup. And then, at the end of the day, I always say that humans are simple creatures. If it flashes and it blinks and it, does that sort of thing, it usually gets my attention. But
Sure.
Honestly, the number one thing is just engage. So many people don't engage, and I know you will.
Absolutely. I will be like a caged panther otherwise. So I have to try to make these 2 days the most worthwhile use of my time so as to not assume the personage of a caged panther, because that wouldn't be very much fun for anybody involved in that transaction. So
yeah.
I appreciate, Kirby, giving me a chance to sort of welcome myself back to the industry. I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to being able to reconnect with a lot of really good friends and people that I've met over the years, and you're no different. So thank you for doing so. I appreciate it.
No problem. It's always fun to chat with you. We'll do it again, of course. And that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.